Good morning. Well, it's 11:10. I've only been up for what? I don't know, 4 hours, 5 hours, and I'm still late. I can't believe it. Anyway, good morning to everybody. I hope that you're having a great morning and you're looking forward to another morning of Pinhole Quilting. Me, Liz, Holpin, and Pete behind the camera. He's way back over there, monitoring progress, checking any comments, making sure we're online, and making sure that any comments you make can be answered so that we can keep track of anything that we can hopefully answer, any questions. Because we've got quite a lot going on today, which is why we're a little bit late, because I suddenly realised I hadn't got all of the things that we needed to get together for your demonstration this morning. Are we live?
We are live. We've got some people watching, including Elizabeth Dunkley and Linda Lawrence and Sue Such and Joe Lovell. Fantastic.
Well, welcome to our showroom here at Pinhole Quilting. We're based in Worcestershire, near the beautiful Georgian town of Pershore. And for those of you who were able to join us for some of the Linda Jackson workshops, a number of people said how they loved Pershore, and it really is a beautiful market town. It's not somewhere that, unless you've got a reason to come and stop by in Pershore and Worcestershire generally, you might even know about. But it is a lovely little place. And during the workshops, we went and visited one of the restaurants, Benvenuti Bell House, one of the beautiful Georgian buildings right in the centre of Pershore, and it really is a lovely place. And we had the opportunity to book the upstairs of the restaurant there. We had our private dining room. I think everybody relaxed because we'd been spending 3 or 4 days together. We're in the private dining room upstairs. We weren't interrupted by anybody else. And there was much hilarity, it has to be said. On the first week, we were entertained by one of our customers' videos, what stays on tour and all of that. And on the second week, Linda Jackson recounting some of her stories from when she was in the police force. And, you know, we have moved on from the 1970s, haven't we, Linda? When you were issued with the standard issue of stockings. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, standard issue, 1979, skirt, stockings, provide your own suspender belt. Absolutely. And Linda gave us a fantastic description of chasing the criminal down the road in her stockings. You need to listen to Linda's recounting of that story because there's no way that I could actually tell it in the way that Linda did. So not only have we got an award-winning Linda Jackson ambassador and educator, but we also have a fantastic raconteur in Linda Jackson. So, you know, these are just the extra things that we end up providing for you on our workshops. This is Saturday Live, Pinhole Quilting, in our workshop, in our showroom, with all of these machines, many of them just waiting for the next workshop. The rest are set up for demonstrations. And we've had a busy week, haven't we, Pete? We've had quite a few demonstrations here. We've had some lovely people. We've had one lady who came down from Dumfries and Galloway, and she just dropped down for the day. Amazing, all the way down from Dumfries and Galloway. And that was lovely to see you, Audrey. And thank you very much for your visit. And another lady came up from Berkshire, and that was also wonderful to see. And they stayed over in the centre of Pershore. So thank you very much for your visit also. And we look forward to hearing from you.
As well as our local visitor, Chris, from Herefordshire.
Chris, from Herefordshire, and fantastic. We're delighted that you've decided to go ahead. So it's been a busy old week. Very busy week. Do we ever have a not busy week? No, we don't. We don't. So let's tell you what we're going to discuss this week. We are going to do a demonstration on a lovely machine that we've got here. Now, the reason that we've picked to do a demonstration on the Simply 16 is that we've got a second user, Simply 16, on our website at a fantastically discounted price, because the lady who's selling it after just over a year of owning it is upgrading to a Handy Quilter, bigger throat space machine, and she would like to move it on. So I thought I'd demonstrate on the Simply we've got. And it's not the same machine, it is a similar machine. We've got our demonstration version here, and I thought I would show you what the Simply 16 is about. So if anybody's interested, it's going to be one very, very similar to this. So it's lost all my words there. I compressed about 5 words into one. It's a Simply 16. It has got the rear handle. Did my printout printed out? Bear with me a second, I think. Unless that was you, Pete. Oh no, that is my printout. I can tell you more about it. This is on our website. If you go to our website, you'll see the Used Machines tab across the top, and you can read it in your own time. It's a second user Simply 16 with a little foot frame. Just came on the market last week. I put it up there, and I've emailed about it just last week. It is a Simply 16. It's the lady's based in Rutland, and she's at I think it's isn't it Oakham?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, she literally has just had it just over a year, so it's got a substantial amount of the original warranty that will be transferred to the new owner. We do transfer the owner warranty to the new owner, and it has quilting from the back. I'll show you that. It has really small, a relatively small number of stitches, under 300,000. It's very lightly used for various reasons. It's been very lightly used, but the customer came on Linda's first week of the whole cloth course, and she got on great guns. She's inspired, and she's upgrading to the next size up. So it's on at 5,500 ONO. New, this would cost you 6,800. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a considerable saving. And when I tell you what's happening later, you will understand why you should really consider this machine. So definitely pay attention later. I sound like a school teacher. I'm sorry about that. No, just listen up. It's a good opportunity. Very, very good opportunity. We love the Simply 16, and it's a small footprint. You need about 7 foot per 7 foot, so it'll fit in as it does for this particular lady. It fits in her conservatory. Would fit in a small bedroom. You can quilt up to king size on this frame. You need to baste it first. We're going to go through it in a moment. So the Simply 16, if you're interested in that, you just need to let us know ASAP, and I'll be demoing it. So I'm giving you advance notice. If you have anybody else who might be interested in, I've got a fly buzzing around. If you're interested, have somebody else watch up as well, but you can always play it back. Of course, it's going to be on YouTube later, and on Facebook. I will be uploading the recording of this session. So what are we going to be talking about today? Pete, anybody I need to say hi to?
No, lots of people wanting to hear Linda's story. I think maybe the next opportunity might be if they come to our next academy.
Oh, yes. It was kind of the spontaneity of it as well, though. You know, these stories, there's lots of stories.
Yeah, I think Linda has perfected that story over the years, though. So
she has.
Even at many more times of telling, I think it will be hilarious.
It's an absolute corker. It's an absolute corker. And I think it's partly because anybody in the UK who remembers some of those police series of the 1970s, you just have to remember back to some of those and then think of this story. Suspenders, stockings. It's just priceless. It's absolutely priceless. I don't know why I'm tidying that up, I need it. Right, so what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about marking. We're going to talk about marking. I am writing a blog post in conjunction with this, so you'll be able to read all about it. I hope I don't lean on my mic. Just push it to one side. There we go. Now, I have mentioned before, one of the things that we did, because for Linda's class we were working on light fabric. Nice to work on light fabric. We were working on light fabric so that we could do the whole cloth course. So as a result, I got in blue quilt pounce. I don't normally stock blue quilt pounce, and there's a reason for that. You can only wash it out or brush it off to remove. Really, really important. Now, it does say on here, Do not iron off, because it doesn't iron off. So what they found, people who produce this, it says use hot or cold water to wash out. Chalk powder is non-toxic. Rinse with water if contact with eye occurs. Keep out of reach of children, contains cornstarch. Okay, this is a 4-ounce packet, and we sell this at £6. Now, I didn't get this because people don't always follow instructions. Got to be honest, people don't always follow instructions. Now, years ago, we got in some, when I was at the previous business at the Cotton Patch, we got in some pink and yellow chalk that goes in a little dispenser with a little wheel. It's made by a well-known Japanese manufacturer of quilting accessories called Clover. And we got in the pink and the yellow, and somebody had a problem because they didn't test it. And I basically stopped supplying the pink and the yellow as a result, because I wasn't very happy that people were not following the instructions. And I thought, well, what's the point of having aggravation if people don't follow the instructions? Even though I stuck it like in all of our catalogues, we used to have a printed catalogue and we had a website. Do not use, unless you're fully tested on your fabric first. People don't read the instructions and they use it on their quilt, and then they say, well, I can't wash it out because this is a non-wash quilt and it won't brush out and I've ruined my quilt. Well, I'm really upset about that. I'm upset for them, even though I said, please follow the instructions, and it's on the packet. But it's still ruined their quilt, so I stopped selling it. We only sold the white, and so it's the pink was the worst. Sold the white and the blue, actually. The blue was okay. It was the pink and the yellow that was the problem. So anyway, we did that. We took it off. I am going to be really, really clear about this. The blue, you cannot iron off. Now, what these people did was they said, you can't iron it off, you have to wash it out or brush it off to remove. But people like to mark on light fabric. For the most part, our White Ultimate Pounce, which is iron off, is going to mark on most fabrics, but occasionally you really can't see it. So we sell the Ultimate Pounce, and when Linda said I would like to use the cream, we used antique white for her class. I said, okay, well, we'll get in the blue, and for that class, we will use the barely blue. So how do we make the barely blue? We made the barely blue by mixing in a pounce, one of these. We mixed, I've got a little, let me just see if I can get rid of this. Got something in my eye. We mixed in the pounce and we marked it up. And we put on the outside with a marker pen that this has got barely blue in it, which is basically the ultimate, the original one, with all the white chalk in it. And we put in a very small amount of the blue. And that is exactly what you get in this barely blue. That is what the manufacturer has done. They have mixed, because they had so many requests, they have mixed ultimate with a bit of the blue. From there on in, you can never just iron it off. So if you mix ultimate with blue, or you purchase barely blue, you've now got a non-iron result. If you keep it purely white, or you purchase the Ultimate Pounce powder, you can iron it off. Any amount of any of this, you can only brush it off or wash it out. I hope that is really, really clear. I'm pausing for dramatic effect.
I think they're all listening.
I'm pausing for dramatic effect. You cannot iron anything with any hint of blue in it. Even a fragment, a particle of blue, it could ruin your quilt, unless you have tested it first and found that you can brush it off. Test, test, test. Test on the same fabric you are using in your quilt. Never guess, always test. I will not be held responsible I have put it all over our website. Pete, we need to put a sticker on this blue stuff.
I think the message is getting through loud and clear with your headmistressy voice.
It is a bit headmistressy, actually. I'm really sorry about that. It's what I used to use when I was doing my diving, when someone could die if they didn't follow my instructions.
As Carol Munro says, no matter how many times you say it, someone's going to iron it.
I know. But you know, when people went diving with me, and if they didn't follow my instructions and someone could die, nobody ever died as a result of my instructions. Can I just say that? Nobody ever died on my watch.
Taken note and will obey.
I'm going to put massive stickers on these packets. But after the end of this session, I'm going to be printing out massive stickers on these so that nobody can open this without removing the sticker. There you go. That's what I'm going to do. So, yeah, honestly, because I remember one customer in particular. She made something with silk. You can't wash it. Pink, clover, chalk wheel. When was it? I'm going to say 1998. I mean, I remember it. It was a bad moment, and I was very upset. There you go. These things you never forget.
Joe Lovell says, I'm going to get you an apron that says, I told you not to iron the blue powder.
Yes. Don't say I didn't warn you.
Okay, let's move on. I think the message has got through.
Pete's going to recount the lobster incident. Right. Do not recount the lobster incident.
I don't want to see you that angry again.
No. No, neither does the guy at Cox Lumber, who 2 years later remembered the lobster incident. Okay, so that's never one to be recounted at an academy. The other things that we're going to talk about now are about marking on light and dark fabrics. I thought, actually, what would be nice would be to focus on my favourite marking tools.
Actually, good question that's just come in, actually, Liz.
Okay.
Does the ironing of the blue, does it fix it? Or if you wash it afterwards, let's say you iron it by accident and then you try to wash it out, will the washing work, do you think?
No, just that it's pigment, so it's just going to stay.
So you think the iron would fix the blue?
No, I don't think it fixes it. It just will never go. I don't think it'll fix it.
In which case it would wash out if you subsequently washed it.
Yes, it would. It's cornstarch, so I don't know. I don't know.
Okay. Probably needs a test. We're back to the testing subject again, I think.
You've got to test. You've got to test. You test it. And the thing about fabric, right? Think about this. Have you ever been to a fabric mill? Has anybody else ever been to a fabric mill? Probably not. And the reason being is that most fabric mills have closed down in the UK and in the States. I have, however, been to a fabric mill. Before the ones that were in the States, in North and South Carolina, closed at Springs, for example, my mum and dad and I went to Springs, along with Eleanor Burns, who is like a stand-up comedian. I was sitting behind Eleanor Burns on the coach, and her friend, she's enormous, by the way. She's like about 6 foot. I'm not 6 foot. And when we were on this coach, she talks non-stop. Have you ever seen Eleanor Burns quilt in a day? She's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And she has a drop-dead gorgeous son. Well, he was then, about 20 years ago. I'm fixated by the sun now. She was on this tour to Springs Industries, which is in South Carolina, on the border. And we went round and saw how they printed. This was printing old style. Old style. There was a guy there in his 90s. The old timer in his 90s was the only guy who knew how to, this is why they no longer print in the States. Oh, really annoying that. He's the only guy who knew how to adjust this machine. And it is why manufacturing no longer exists in the States for fabric. because they never really invested in the machinery. It's a bit like in the UK, really. Anyway, this guy was there, and he had his bucket of like the red dye and the blue dye, and it was all done on the copper. It was like a copper imprint, and you had like 7 or 8 rolls. I remember this because like I'm such a visual person, I can almost remember exactly how these things were done on the rolls. So you had like the blue, and that would print one type of thing. And you know, like on the selvage, you see the blue, the red, the yellow, the green. That's how it works, is that when the red roller goes, that prints the red, and then that bit of the red prints on the selvage, and then the blue roller further down the line prints the blue bit, and then the green, and then etc. And each bit prints that bit of the selvage. So anyway, you go to these things, and then each bit of the process is then the finishing, the mercerizing, and all the other things. There's lots of different processes. Each of those processes then adds some external element to the fabric finishing, and some of those finishes affect what happens when you add something to it. So if you, for example, add an iron to it, or you add, like, you know, the thing we were talking about last week with the radiance, prepared for dyeing, it will not have those finishes so that your dye can be absorbed by the fabric. If you had those finishes, it would not be able to absorb dye. So when we use other things on it, like chalk pencils, it depends on what those finishes are as to how it's absorbed. So when we talk about whether we use barely blue on one fabric and it's been done by one manufacturer, it's going to be different than if it's done by another manufacturer. For example, when we went round this one factory, my dad is very observant of charts and things. He looked at this one chart, he looked at the fabric that was in front of it, and he said, what does JA mean? And this guy who was just in this office, he said, oh, that means Joanne. And he noticed that there's a whole load of processes that weren't done. And you might wonder why Joanne's fabric is cheaper. It's because there's 10 different processes that aren't done. There you go. Joanne's fabric is cheaper for a reason. Wondered why. Right, so just saying, well, that was a long time ago, so I'm sure it's not the same anymore. Right, the other thing that we're going to demo is different marking tools. So that was our pounce, etc. And we are looking at, Pete, I will need some camera work done here.
Okay,
when you're ready.
There's a couple of good questions come in. Just bear with me a moment. So I'm just trying to reply to somebody at the same time, and then I'll be with you. Okay. One of them is, what about the ultraviolet lights? Why not just use white and put an ultraviolet light so that you can see the white?
Yeah, good question.
Chalk.
So ultraviolet, it is retained, and some people have had issues at the quilt shows with the ultraviolet chalk being retained within the quilts. There's been some comments about that on some of the blog posts. I think it was in Handy Quilter about 3 or 4 years ago. So rather like the barely blue, you'll still see those little elements of blue chalk. Even if you use barely blue, you will still see potentially the ultraviolet chalk. I was going to get some samples of that. That's just reminded me. I have found a place.
Yes, so
my pen gone.
The Avanti, any of you that has an Avanti, most of you will have ultraviolet lights already built into the machine. So you could try this with your white Pounce chalk or other white marker on light fabrics. Otherwise, you can buy a USB driven ultraviolet light, black light, quite cheaply on Amazon, for example.
Yeah.
Or preferably from an independent retailer, if I may say so.
Yes.
Being a small business.
Small business, like us.
The other question from Joe Lovell is something I'm sure you're going to cover, which is how can she stop the chalk from disappearing as she quilts? Now, somebody else has already stated that hairspray is one way of doing that.
Yeah.
Cheap hairspray.
Yeah, it just holds it and fixes it. I think that came up before. Yeah, Linda mentioned it. Okay. We're good.
Morning, Derek and Sandra.
Oh, hello.
Pleased you're with us.
Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Shall I go on to the next thing?
Yes.
Great. Well, this has got a lot of stuff on it. This is from something else, but can I just use this because I just grabbed this as a sample. But I'm just going to show you. This is like just a sample of. Got my iron down there. This is just to illustrate how you can use the pounce. There's not much difference between the barley and the white, to be honest. Not a lot of difference when you use it on black like this.
So this is a Cindy Needham stencil that Liz is using here?
This is the square. In the Ultimate, you get a square. Ultimate stencil set, you get a circle and a square, and you also get the acetate to help plan. This has got loads of them in because we use these in classes. And this is one I drew on earlier and wished I hadn't because it's like permanently attached.
Just put that on and white if you've got some white underneath this.
That's the square and the circle, yeah. On this side. That's how you can use it. Okay.
So this is using an erasable marker so that you can plan your design in advance over your block, for example.
So that might be the center of my block, and this is the square version. And then once you've planned it, you can then use that as a guide for then putting it on top of your fabric. I might just be using, say, a quarter.
So Jennifer, I don't know about the Clover water and air erasable, but as Liz has said, test. If you test it first, then you'll know.
I've got the water erasable.
Okay.
And I've got the air, we've got the air erasable on our site as well. Do the same. Now you can either just pounce. Doesn't seem like there's much in there. Oh, there is. Yeah. So you can either do the whole thing, or, which is nice, yeah, or you can with, that's my square foot demo there that looks like Abigail did. That was last week, effectively. Let me just show you how that comes off, because that was the Ultimate.
Claire, Handy Quarter do sell the ultraviolet lights separately with a USB connector, but we don't stock them because, first of all, they're very expensive, and secondly, they're not CE certified. We only sell products, electrical products, that are approved for use in the UK.
Just show you how that comes off.
And the Binding Queen says,
oh yeah.
Does this need binding, Liz?
I've got another one for you, Carolyn. I'm going to show you later. You binding queen.
Carolyn is our binding queen because she's very generously bound some of Liz's previous sample pieces.
I think that's not going to destroy my... I wonder if this will go. I don't know what this was marked with. I presume it's an Ultimate. Oh, it is. Look, that's going to... Look at that. Look at that. That's all going. Well, you don't want to squidge your wadding too much, so depending on what your wadding is. Okay. And I do this on an ironing board, not on my cutting table. Never mind. I ironed on some carpet the other day. I've now got to use my hot iron cleaner. Whoops. Now, the other thing that you can do, so that was the Ultimate chalk. That was the Ultimate Pounce. And as you can see, that's gone. Now, what I can then do instead, more accurately, using my Bohin 9.9 millimeter one, which comes with refills.
This is the fine chalk pencil.
This is it in its packet. This is my go-to favourite because with the Cindy Needham stencils, this is the best. Got to be honest. And you get plenty of extras, and you can buy more extras.
And you can just fill in the lines that you want to fill in.
Let's hope there's some in this one. There is. We've had a lot of people using these. So with this one, instead, you could go up your, just go up these, as you wish, and then mark your intersections. So, and then you could join it wherever you wish, referring to the guide that you used the acetate for. So I might sort of say, okay, I'm going to mark it here, this intersection here. Where was it? That one, say. And I'm making this up as I go along. Always a good thing. For example, and I've got a ruler somewhere. Where's mine? Here it is. And then I might join these instead. So I might go down to here, and then back up to there. There's one of them, for example. Yeah, depends what I want to do, but that might be one of the things that I do. It creates a star. If I repeat that, then that creates a star. I might have a secondary one, I don't know. I'm just making this up. Oops, let's do that. Okay, and then I could do feathers. Oops. Etc. Voila, there we go. And this one, because it's just chalk, this will just come on.
Yeah,
or
so there's
I just quilt over it.
There's an eraser on the other side of the pencil.
Because it's just chalk with a little bit of ceramic, and it runs very freely. So on the fabric, it's really clear.
And
there we go. And once you've stitched over that, you won't see it. So on black fabric, very nice, runs very, very clearly. Comme ça. Beautiful. Yeah, we've also got these clothes brushes things, which when you do the pounce, for example, so if I just show you again, if with the pounce, this for the most part just brushes off.
So that's just one of these clothes brushes, Liz. Do you just want to show that?
Oh yeah, it's one of these. So depending on the nap of it, so you can get rid of it.
Or alternatively.
Or a microfiber cloth. I prefer this one. Just flip that round. This is my favourite because where it's depending on how you're holding it, you can brush away from you. Now the barely blue, which is the one that we basically mixed the dark blue in, which is this one, which is the one you would basically brush off. There, I've kind of oversaturated it. So this looks quite white, but if you were doing this on, I'm going to do it on the reverse in a second, but I just want to show you. See, that just comes off. Like that. So you can just dust it off. Let's just do that on the reverse, which is my cream fabric. Cream fabric side. Barely blue. I don't think you're going to see this because it's not very good quality on them. But I can see it.
It's very difficult to see with the stitching that's already on there.
Yeah, but you see, I can see that. Even though it's kind of like a bluey white, you're not going to see that. And then when I want to get rid of it, can you see that, Pete? You can probably see that pretty clearly.
It's not easy, I have to say.
Well, if I was following that, because I can see this here.
You've already got so much stitching on there that which causes...
True. Okay, let me do it over here then, where there's no stitching. How about if I do it on there and I turn this around? If I do it on this piece here, what about if I do it with the blue behind? Will you see it better?
We'll find out.
Okay. I mean, we didn't put a huge amount in because you don't really need it.
Yeah,
see that?
No, that's much more visible.
Okay.
Certainly to the naked eye, yes, and it shows up on the screen as well.
It just shows you that actually it does show up more than you expect.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you're done, brush it off. Now, what about, say I want to mark this stencil on a light fabric and I don't want to use the pounce. So doing what I did before, this is this one. Wipe off, move these away, stop anybody getting confused. Wipe off, fine line.
So this is a blue line marker.
Yeah. Now when we first went to when we went to our academy in 2018, and Abigail tells this story, Kelly Klein, with all her vintage fabrics, was just merrily, with gay abandon, just drawing all over these vintage fabrics with this blue fine line marker, and we would go, is that ever going to come out? And yes, it did. And we went, wow, that's amazing. And, you know, you just draw all over the stuff. So that's one option. Fine. That's their 450. This one.
Not all blue line markers are the same.
No, this is one that I've stocked this one for absolutely years.
Yeah, this one we sell. We've never had anybody remark that it's a problem.
We've sold tons of them. There are other ones as well, but the ones that we stock, we've done for years. This one is by the Clover, and this one is a thick one. They call it thick. It's just a thicker one. It still goes through this, and you see it's actually a lot easier. Or I think it's easier to draw with. It runs over the fabric easier, whereas the other one kind of gets a bit stuck. And I think this one's a nice one.
So we're stocking that now as well, and the price of that one is
£4.80.
£4.80.
Yeah, that's that one. And then we've also got, you can either use a spritz, or we've got the eraser pen. There are other products to get rid of stuff, but you can just specifically get rid of that.
So can I say that's completely disappeared? All I can see is the sort of wet mark from the eraser pen.
Yeah. Or you can spritz stuff.
So this is just with a fine misting bottle with water.
Mm-hmm. I got 3 of these from the large company that Jeff, Mr. B, has done extremely well with, eventually making money, I suppose.
Can you just demonstrate that a bit more? Liz, 'cause I know that some people are sceptical that this actually works.
Well, should I just fill it a bit more?
Needs a bit more water in it. But we can already see that line's disappearing. But
I
Kelly,
bought 3 of these. These are really good bottles. I use this for our ironing, don't I? At home. I like these.
magic, gone.
Gone. Ta-da! Well, you got that. This is really good. Okay.
Yep, and Claire says, or you can use a small paintbrush and water to go over the line.
You can, absolutely. And there we go. Gone, gone, gone. Another one that I like is the other one that we get from Bohin, which if you're doing very thick, bold marks, I don't stock the coloured one of this. I have seen other people stock the coloured one. No, we don't do it. So for the same reasons I explained at the beginning.
This is from the same manufacturer as the fine chalk marker. This is a much thicker chalk marker. It flows really nicely. So for your big designs, this is really nice.
When you've got it already loaded on your frame and you just want to sort of start something off and just practice stuff, this sharpener works really well to get a very fine sharp point on here. In fact, I might be able to go and get one. I think I've got one in the drawer. Where is it? Here it is. It's really good.
Good morning.
This is the first one.
Good morning, Michaela. Don't worry that you're late. You can always catch up later on Facebook or on YouTube. All of our Saturday morning sessions are posted after the event on those two platforms.
Let's try and get this further in. You have to put it quite a long way in, but look. Oh, brilliant. Well
You've
done,
broken
Liz.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, brilliant demonstration. Brilliant.
The pen comes with quite a lot of pencil inserts, as you can see.
Yeah, just as well.
Just in case you're heavy-handed.
I tried to angle it so you could see it. Right, wait for this, wait for this. Okay, it's not quite as much as I wanted. Right, I'm just going to put it in straight. Oh, jolly good.
These live demos.
No, it's right.
These live demos, Liz.
That's right. No. I'm going to push that back in. It's fine. Look. Look. Nice sharp point.
Yeah, so that's noticeably finer.
It's lovely.
So it's quite versatile then.
It is. You can get a sharp point. Just don't do what I did, which is...
Okay. Good morning, Lou. Lou Reeves, who lives very close to us.
Hello, Lou.
Lou's advice is turn the sharpener, not the pencil.
Oh, Lou, you genius. You genius.
Now that's spoken, I think, like a true artist, because Lou is very artistic.
Lou is a true artist. You need to come down here and have a play on these machines, Lou. Lou lives in North Biddle. And we live south of North Biddle, which puts us in the Biddle. Well, the Biddle runs through our village. Biddle means a small stream. Look. Look at that. You can use it for this, but obviously you've got to turn the sharpener, as Lou has just explained. And look at that. You see? Beautiful. Feathers, 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 feathers. Right, so we've done that. We've done the. Okay. Oh, the other one is the panda. Panda is good for the dark fabrics and using the iron, just as well and not. I think I need to move these frames slightly wider apart. The panda has got the little string. Haven't done my demo yet, Pete.
I know.
We're nearly overrunning, aren't we?
That's okay.
Okay.
You started late.
We did. I got a lot to prepare this morning. So the panda, maybe you can. No, you can do this one. The panda is gesso, which is basically chalk as well, and with a glue. And look, this is great too. Let me show you. That comes off as well.
So it feels more waxy when you use the panda pencil.
Gone.
Comes off really nicely with an iron. But better on dark fabrics than light.
Yeah. Gone.
Look at that.
Panda. Yeah, dark, medium dark. Don't use on light. It doesn't work. It can leave like a residual.
It's like a waxy
like
surface.
A wax. It leaves a wax. Whereas this, I love it. Look at that. Gone. Magic. Magic, magic, magic. Okay, I think we've covered everything there. So those are my favourites. Tried and tested. Don't have to worry about the lady with the silk who had the pink chalk. I'm going to put a sticker on those things. If you order one, you're going to have a sticker.
But as soon as they put the powder in their pants, the sticker is gone, and then they forget.
Yeah, but they're going to see that residual thing that says, do not use this. Okay, now Simply 16. So this one is similar to the one that we've got on our website at second user, 5,500. It's a real bargain, honestly, because the lady who's selling it really wants to upgrade, and she is now, after having 4 days with Linda Jackson, teller of the tale of the stockings and chasing the criminal, is very, very keen to move on. Oh, I just put an extra little basting tack in there.
Yeah, Colin, if you'd like to add anything to your Moxie order, just the best thing is just to email me. You could order it online, but if you do that, you'll pick up a postage charge. But if you email you, I can invoice you separately, and you won't pick up any additional postage costs.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Colin. Look forward to talking to you soon, and you having your Moxie. Fantastic. It's great. The reason I'm putting this on, by the way, this is a cloth leader that goes on to a pre-basted quilt. So what we've got here is a little foot frame. It's like a big hoop. This is what the Simply 16 that's on a second user frame that's on our website. This is what the customer is selling. It's where you take a pre-basted quilt. So you're going to either baste it using basting tacks, you're going to baste it using a fusible wadding, or you're going to spray baste it. Don't use safety pins. And once you've basted it, you can add a cloth leader to the top or the bottom. So we've got a piece of fabric here that was previously used. I've actually just put a little finishing stitch to it so I can reuse it, and I've tacked it using our basting tack tool. Now what that means is I don't have to use extra wadding and backing fabric, so I can now put that on to this far rail using some of these grippers. I'm just going to show you how we load it. So do this. 3 go on the back. This back rail is held in place with some locking things, these little knobs that we turn. And then I've got a super clamp on this front here. And I've got a couple of grips just here and here, and this other one here. So I put these on. I've also got some side grips as well. Just going to show you how we thread this up from this side here. So this is the glide thread. This was a 5,000 meter roll cone. Even. Can I just come this side? Mm-hmm. So in preference, we have the cone coming from this side. It goes under this guide. Then we go through this pre-tensioner. Typically for the glide thread, we just go through number 1, number 3. We skip the middle one. It's just what we do. Not everybody does that, but we do. Then we do what's called flossing. So I go either side of there, and I force it in between these tension discs, just like this, like flossing your teeth. Then I take up the slack and go the other side of that spring. Take up the slack, like so. Now it's the other side of that spring and underneath this stirrup. So you see, when I pull with my left hand, see that spring? It moves up and down. That is simulating what actually happens when a stitch is taken. It releases the tension, which enables the thread to go around the hook. That's actually what's happening there. Just going to get my skizzers, which I've put down over here. Once it's gone under the stirrup, you'd go through the take-up lever. You have to feed it through. It's got a little hole here. We don't have a slot or anything like some domestic machines do. This is a very fast machine, so we don't have a slot. Goes through that piggy tail. Come the other side of Pete. There's a little guide above the needle, which helps guide the thread down through the groove of the needle. So there's a groove, runs down the front of the needle, and that groove should be facing towards me. If the needle has been inserted correctly, If it hasn't and it's in 180 degrees with the groove of the at the back, that's something that sometimes when people are new to their machine, they make an error and they put the needle in backwards, because these are all industrial needles on our machines. The last blog post I did was all about the fact that we use industrial needles and why. You can read that. It's a technical blog post, but I hope that it gives people an understanding of some of the benefits of industrial needles and why Handy Quilter use those, and also how you can insert the needle, and some of the differences between sharps and ballpoint. And some of the other needles we use, like leather. And also the high-speed needles, which are used on some of they're supplied by default for our Infinity machine, which is a very fast machine. So now the setting on this is what's called precision. So let's just pick up the thread. I'll just do a little bit of test stitching here. Looks okay. And I'll just test the stitching. That looks good. Put on the side grips. And away we go. So on this piece of test fabric here, I've got some of the things I did. I just wanted to show how we use some of the full line stencils. So I've got the tiger stripe here, and I've got some other stitching as well. So I'll just do a little bit of test stitching, and I think we're then ready to go. Yeah, finished for the day. What else do you want to do? Oh, gosh. Okay, really important thing I haven't mentioned. Right, very important announcement. So I'm just going to skate over this and there we go. That's quilting from the front. Just to show you. This is precision. This is precision. I stop, it stops. Okay, so if you want to know any more about the Simply 16, just let us know. On to even more important matters than the second use of Simply 16. We've also got some other machines available. The Avanti with Pro Stitcher is still available. I've had some interest. I'm talking with a potential customer at the moment. But if you are interested in that, please let us know. Otherwise, I think it's going to go this week. We've also got a Sweet 16. There's one coming up, and there's also one still available. But, you know, it depends where you are in the UK. So I know that there's some more coming on the market. So you are definitely going to want to know about these, because what has happened, as many people in the UK are aware, there's been some significant changes. My goodness, there's been some big changes in the last few years. We have held our pricing for a significant amount of time. For example, the Amara came out. We have never changed our pricing on the Amara. It has been the same since the launch. However,
that was 4 years ago.
4 years ago. However, despite fluctuations in the dollar, despite Brexit, we have held our pricing. We have absorbed, let's just say we've absorbed a lot. We can no longer continue to do so. We are in the process of reviewing our pricing. This is quite a serious subject, obviously, because there's a lot of businesses doing the same as us. We are not immune to the forces of the economy, and we are going to be increasing our machine and frame prices. Therefore, we will be implementing some price increases. However, we are in the process of talking to a lot of customers at the moment about purchases of machines. It is a considered purchase, and therefore customers will already have been thinking about buying machines, and we know that some people will be so close to making that decision. And we've had it in the past where someone says, oh, I've been thinking about buying that machine for 5 years, and then just as I was about to buy it, you put the price up. And, you know, some people haven't forgotten that. So what we're going to do is this. If you pay your deposit for machine, we will hold the price that it is today if you pay that deposit by the 31st of December 2021. Okay. However, you will also need to pay in full by the 28th of February 2022, and you will need to take delivery of that machine and frame by the 31st of March 2022, because we do not have enough space. If anybody's seen our Instagram post, you'll see that we received 12 pallets yesterday. So this is while stocks last. We had a big delivery. We've got a lot of stock, but you need to talk to us. If you're interested in taking a delivery on the current price, that is pay a deposit by the 31st of December, full payment by the 28th of February, and delivery by the 31st of March. There's time, but you need to talk to us. And we would love to help you to, you know, realize your long arm dream, because, you know, we have taken quite a lot of fluctuations and absorbed them, because we know that that's really important when it's a considered purchase. And we, you know, we don't do sort of crazy deals at strange times of the year and then you think, oh, I've lost out. We try and keep it consistent. We have got some accessory pack deals, and if we've been talking to you and you've come up for a demo, talk to us about what the best deal is. Okay, so, you know, we hope that we can really help in you know, making things achievable. Let's put it like that. Pete, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, it's something we do reluctantly.
Yes.
As Liz mentioned, we haven't increased the price on the Amara since its launch 4 years ago. The key driving factor this time is actually the shipping costs from the States. We have to bring the machines in from the States. They're very big, they're very heavy, they incur a lot of freight costs. And we thought that things might settle down post the real issues of COVID, but they haven't. Our shipping costs are more than double what they were pre-COVID and pre-Brexit. And that is a massive additional cost, which we now are going to have to pass on. So yes, it's with reluctance, but we're trying to help people out by helping them make that decision as soon as possible.
Yep. Okay, so we'll leave that with you. We're available. So, you know, best thing is to email us so that we can call you back. Because we are, shall I mention that we will be away?
Yes, because you need to tell them about next Saturday.
Next Saturday, we are not here next Saturday. We have a very important family engagement. We are out of the country, sort of for a while. So we have a very important wedding to go to, celebrating Pete's son's wedding. So that is going to be wonderful. And we will be back, but we will not be doing a Facebook Live next Saturday. We will be back the week after, and we will have some fantastic demos the week after. I've already planned them. The other thing that we would like to mention, a very final thing, is that the Moxie and the Simply 16 on the loft frame, we will have the same as was announced at Houston. The Moxie will have Pro Stitcher Lite. It will be coming to the UK later than in the States, purely because we have different electrical compatibility requirements, the redirective, etc., that applies here is slightly different, and the testing that requirements will be taking place. We will have a demonstration version. We expect it to arrive in the UK next month, and the shipping will be available. The plan is to have it in February or March 2022. Pricing on that will be somewhere between $5,250 and $5,500. We don't have final pricing on it yet, but we expect to be able to announce that to you as soon as it's available. Okay. Thank you very much for your time, and we really appreciate you watching our demonstrations and being part of this Facebook Live that has become a regular feature of 2021. We started it in January to hopefully cheer people up because we were going through a really rubbish time, but it's become a regular feature. Thank you for joining us. Pete, anything else? No. Great. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a wonderful 2 weeks. And do get in touch if you've got any questions. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.